Before we jump into Bentov's work, I want to be clear about something. I'm not taking everything Bentov says as gospel. I'm filtering it through my own experience, my Africa training, and what I've learned actually works in practice. Some of what he explains lines up perfectly with what I've experienced. Some of it I'm still exploring. I'm sharing what resonates and what I can verify through lived experience, not just repeating theory. My goal isn't to make you a Bentov follower. It's to show you how scientific frameworks can validate traditional spiritual practices and help you understand your own experiences. Test everything I share. Trust your own direct experience above any external authority, including mine. What I love about Bentov is that he was a scientist trying to understand consciousness. He built frameworks that help explain experiences many spiritual traditions have known about for thousands of years. So when I share his work, I'm not saying this is the only way to understand it. I'm saying this is one lens that helped me make sense of things I experienced. All right, guys, this is the second video in the Bentov series. If you haven't seen the first video, that's it right here. So the first thing I did after making the first video was go and get his book. So I went and I got Itzhak Bentov's book. About 10 chapters in it. So far, as of today, I'm up to chapter 5. And it's a lot of information, okay? So what I decided to do is do 2 chapters per video. So in this video, we're gonna be going through chapter 1 and 2. And my goal is to, of course, learn and also share what I learned so that we can learn together. And at the same time, connect the dots with the training I had in Africa, because I found a lot of parallels when I first just found short clips of him online. So this is the breakdown. This is chapter 1. Okay, so one of the first things I realized about his work was it made me think of reality like music. Everything is vibrating, light, sound, matter, even our body. So that's one of the first things I wrote down. And I'm going to be referencing my notes quite a bit because it's quite a bit of information. But I'm going to try to make it as interesting as possible. So some of the key concepts that I got from chapter 1 was hologram, a 3D image created by interference patterns of light waves. When 2 different frequencies overlap, they create new patterns, like dropping 2 stones in water and watching the ripples intersect. So if you drop 1 stone in the water, you see the ripple, drop another stone close to that ripple, and you see the ripples intersect. The next key concept was coherency. When waves are in step, like a marching band moving in sync versus a crowd walking randomly. Next key concept was oscillators. Oscillators, things that move back and forth in a repeating pattern. A pendulum, a heartbeat, breathing. Your body is full of these. Your heart beats, your lungs expand, contract, your brain waves pulse. So these concepts are going to be important for a little bit later on in this chapter as well. So rhythm, next key concept is rhythm entrainment. When oscillators are offbeat, get pulled into sync by stronger rhythm, like when women living together sync their menstrual cycles, or how your heart rate matches the person you're hugging, okay? The last key concept for this chapter was resonance. When oscillators that are in sync amplify each other, like pushing a swing at just the right moment, making it go higher, okay? So the big idea is our reality isn't solid, it's vibratory. We're constantly responding to different frequencies. When our bodies, many oscillators, meaning the heart, breath, brain waves, get in sync with each other, we can resonate, which creates power, okay? So if you've seen this video for the first time, I have a video about my first Africa trip and what I learned in it. If you want to see that, it's right here. And the way I'm connecting the dots with that trip and what I'm learning now is this. I remember being in Africa and they could see everything, right? They were doing divination on me and they could see my past, they could see my actions, they could see who I am as a person. I couldn't hide anything. Not that I wanted to, but everything was already out there. So what I wrote down is this. If reality is vibratory and holographic, like Bentov says, right, then every action you take creates a wave pattern in the field. Someone trained to read those patterns can see your behavior the same way a skilled musician can hear when one instrument is out of tune in the orchestra. And that's what I experienced. I experienced highly skilled practitioners that knew how to do divination well, that was able to read the vibratory signals that I had left behind. So that was interesting to me. So my behavior was creating vibrational patterns in the non-physical field that they could read. All right. So one of the things that I learned while I was in Africa was they explained to me that before someone gets physically sick, the illness is in their energy, like it's around them. And, when they said that, I was receiving the information and I understood what they were saying. But after going through Itzhak Bentov's first 5 chapters, here is how I'm connecting the dots. And here is what I understand more clearly. The disease starts as a disruption in your energy field. As we mentioned before, oscillators, i.e., the heart, brain, breathing, oscillators going out of rhythm. That's an example of that. So before it manifests physically, they can detect and retune the field early. The physical illness never manifests. So basically what I'm saying is, because from what I understand when I was in Africa, illness starts from the energy, and Itzhak Bentov is saying basically the same thing. Once it's in that state, especially if it's something that was done non-naturally, what happens is, because it's in that state, it can be addressed from an energetic level before it becomes physical. And what I learned also is that our thoughts are also oscillators. So when you think consistently in certain patterns, you're creating a coherent frequency that entrains other aspects of your life. And then also, with the prayer that I was doing. So the prayer that I was doing this prayer when I was back in the United States, right? And I was doing a prayer every day. But it wasn't like a regular prayer. I was doing it with focus. I was doing it with intent. I was doing it with energy. I was doing it with passion. And I remember they called and said, whatever it is that I'm doing, keep doing it because you have the power now. And now that I have more information as I'm learning with you guys, is that you have the power now translates to you're in coherence. Your energy is flowing. Your energy is flowing in a cohesive manner. And I don't think that that means that you have to have that level of intensity every single day. But I do feel like it helps, especially when you're going through something like I did, right? To have that focus, to have that intention. And and that's a part of the reason why I created the 7-day system. Because with the 7-day system, these are not just words or just feel-good phrases. It's also energetic. It helps you to stay focused. It helps you to have order. And that's one of the things I noticed about Bentov's work. He was talking a lot about order and disorder. Order in the sense of when we're alive and we're focused and we're living, it brings order to our lives. Like we are in order per se. When someone is no longer alive, then they're deceased, that order becomes disorder. So there's a constant theme of being in order and out of order. And that theme, I feel, connects to also harmony as well. So Bentov, first 2 chapters just explained something that happened to me in Africa that never fully understood until now. Okay. In the first 2 chapters, Itzhak Bentov explains something. Basically, everything that you do is seen. Nothing is not seen. I remember while I was there, they were telling me stuff about myself that no one knew. Absolutely no one knew. And I was like, okay, how did you know that? Right. But what happens is that anything that we do in this world is documented. Everything that we do is registered in that energetic field that I was talking about. Understanding your spiritual blockchain, that's one thing. Knowing which patterns to keep or release, well, that requires discernment. If you're ready to identify what's yours versus what you've inherited, I offer inner altar sessions. Link in bio.